Hi everyone. So this is a talk about a journey I took to a DevOps conference in Americashire. I got to go over there last year around November time. And while I was there, I was kind of confused because it was November and they have this thing called Thanksgiving. I'm not entirely sure what it was about when I got there, and I'm even less sure now I've spoken to some Americans about what it is. Completely confused. But I understand it's a big deal. There's lots of travelling. They talk about this getaway. They talk about the travel chaos because they all go and visit the friends and family, take some time off work. And it kind of reminded me that when I visit my friends and families and relatives, I have this kind of superpower unlocked because it doesn't matter if you're, a techie, if you're a dev, an op, or an architect, or a tester. At some point during your visit to your loved ones, one of them's going to turn around and say, "Oh, while you're here, would you mind looking at the computer? It's running a bit slow." And I have lost countless Boxing Day afternoons running antivirus, malware, and a never-ending Windows update on a bloatware-filled Dell XP laptop. Good news, problems are over. There's loads of people out there who will help your friends and families with their computer problems. Turns out, a bit of a catch. Might be a bit dodgy, might be scammers, might be passwords, bank details, store ransomware, all sorts of horrible things. And I understand that they'll just call you out the blue, pretending to be Windows support or something like that. And I thought, if I ever get phoned by one of them, I'm going to waste their time. I'm going to wind them up. It'll be fun, and while I'm messing about with them, they can't be scamming anyone for real. So, and lo and behold, I got phoned by one last summer. I answered the phone, said, "Is that Mr. Burgin?" I said, "Yes." Said, "Well, this is Windows support and your computer is under attack." I said, "Goodness me, so glad you called." I'm now in a complicated 3-layer attack. Layer 1 is this gentleman trying to convince me I've got a problem with my computer. So he says, "Can we run through some basic tests?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Said, "Are you sat at a computer?" I said, "Yeah." Said, "Right, what I want you to do is look at a keyboard. Bottom left, there's a little key, looks like a flag. Like, right? He says, "I want you to hold that down and press R." I get this wrong. I press R and then Windows. I mess about with him. Eventually I say, "I'm holding the Windows key down and I'm going to press R." He says, "Brilliant. What's on the screen?" I said, "Nothing. Do you want me to turn it on?" Apparently he did. So we turned it on and we logged in eventually. We got the password a bit wrong a few times. And we got the Windows R pressed and we got the dialog box up. And he says, "In that box, I want you to type INF," which he describes as India, November, Foxtrot. I get that bit wrong order, muddled up. He got most annoyed when I asked him how many O's were in November. But we got there in the end. And if you do type INF into there and hit enter, you get this dialog box up. And it describes to me that those files there show that my system is under attack. That's a virus, apparently. So I now get handed over to a lady on layer 2 support, who's very pleasant. Okay, she was a bit passive-aggressive, but very helpful nonetheless. And she's going to try and convince me that they can help with my problem, but I throw a curveball, try and catch her out. I say, "My computer has a dozen antivirus packages installed. How come these viruses are still getting through?" And she says, "Well, that's a very good precaution, sir. But these are very advanced attacks that only our systems can detect." I'm like, "Okay." So I get handed to my friend on layer 3 support. We didn't really hit it off, to be honest. It turns out my inability to type in shortened URLs and download remote access software and questioning the gentleman's wisdom on whether my virus scanner was actually right or not really wound him up. And the relationship deteriorated quite quickly. At one point I asked to be handed back to the lady on layer 2 support, but probably that wasn't possible. And in the end, voices were raised, things were shouted, and things came to a head. He said, "You see the keyboard?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "You see the key next to the enter key with a wavy line on it?" I said, "Yeah, the tilde key." He said, "That's not the tilde key, that's the banana key. And that banana is for you, my friend, because you are a monkey." Now, I can't remember the last time I was actually called a monkey as an insult, but I think I was 6. And before I could reply with, "No, you're a monkey and so's your mum," he really started shouting at me to hang up. And I realised that the way he route the phone call through meant he couldn't hang up, and I got it trapped. I did hang up eventually because he told me he was Osama bin Laden's brother-in-law and he was coming to get me. So I suppose the moral of this tale is when you're with your loved ones and they say, "Can you have a look at a computer?" do so because you don't want these scammers making a monkey out of your friends and family. Thank you.